Hi, my name's Greg from TP Photography, and today I'm going to make a quick video about Sony and wireless flashes. Now, I've got three different light stands here, and I've got a Godox V860 S, which is the Sony version. I've got a TT685S, which has been in some of my other videos. Now, one of the things I've found doing off-camera flash with Sony is that the normal cold shoes can be quite tight, so when you try and put these inside, it can really be like you're forcing it in there, which has worried me a little bit. So I've got these new flash mounting solutions from Manfrotto, they're little like tilt swivel things. Beauty of them is really easy to get on. Just stick them on there. Perfect. And I'll stick a little link in the video so you know where you can get those from. And then we've got a 860-685. So I'm going to mount these on here now. Just loosen that off, it just sort of slides in, and then it comes really loose, and then what you can do is you can just tighten this up. So you just tighten that up like that, and then you just tighten the flash down. There you go, and you don't have to worry about it sort of breaking the smart shoe, because these Sony smart shoes, they look a bit fragile because they're basically plastic with sort of metal contacts on there, so you don't want to push it in too hard. So we're going to put the V860 on this one, tighten that up. So you're just going to sort of do it till it's a little bit tight, and then we can tighten up the hot shoe. So it's like it was on a camera there, really. Tighten these up, aim both towards camera position so we'll be able to see them flashing. Turn them on. And then on the back, what we're going to do is, there's a little wireless symbol. So we're going to press that till we get to the wireless slave mode on channel 1. So they're both on wireless slave channel 1 there. I'll show you what that looks like. Hopefully you can see that there. So that's why you want it to look at on the back, a little radio symbol, a little trigger, and then we're going. Okay, so we can now see the back of the camera there. So we can see on f5.1/160th ISO 400s, we can see it's a little bit underexposed on the back of the screen there. We've got the X1T-S trigger on top and the a7r2. So we're going to turn this X1T on. And we can see there what happens is when you do that with Sony systems, the flash is recognised as being on top. We've got this little flash symbol here. We also see that it brightens up the screen so that we don't really get what you see is what you get with flash, because you want to, if you've got a flash on, then you're probably going to be doing studio stuff or something where you want to be able to see what you're doing. So rather than it just display the ambient, if we do want to see the ambient, we can turn it off and it'll go back. Again, we're still getting an indication that it's 2 stops under, so we know roughly what we're doing there. Now, what we can do, at the moment, we're on channel 1 and they're in group A, so they're in TTL mode. So what we're going to do is if we just focus and take a picture, so you can see there, both have fired. So what we can do here, we can change it into manual mode and make it minimum power there. So I've got minimum power, so we'll take that picture again. We can see, if we look at that on the back, then we can see that it's firing them both fine at that. So what we'll do is up the power, to put it at 1:1. I'm going to go here. You can see there, that's massively overexposed. So, that's kind of what we'd expect, so we've really upped the power. So what we can do, we can go to f22. You can see you get like a sort of quite a nice starburst there on the back. So you can see there, we've adjusted the aperture, and that's showing us that we're firing at full power there. So if we go back into TTL mode, for example, See that again. And that's all there is to using these wireless flashes with Sony. I can adjust the power manually, I can put it into TTL mode. Both of these in the same group. I could put them in separate groups and control them separately by changing the toggles here. So I can scroll through all the groups if I want to. So this is what I use a lot for off-camera flash and things like that. I can control it fully from the controller like this. The differences between the 860 S and the TT685S is simply one has AA batteries and another has a lithium-ion battery. So the advantage of the lithium-ion one is obviously that you can just keep going up for the whole day. You're never going to have to worry about batteries. In fact, it'll last several weddings, even with very heavy use. With the AA batteries, then obviously you have to worry a little bit about that. But it kind of depends. If you've got lots of AAs, then that model's a little bit cheaper. Obviously, the good thing about the lithium-ion is that you do get faster recycle times. So I don't know if we can show that. If I go to continuous mode and I put us into full speed mode, and then if I just keep taking pictures, you can see that the one with the lithium-ion battery recycles a little bit quicker. The other thing we'd expect is, so we see there it recycled both, just the lithium-ion, both, just the lithium-ion, both, 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 just the lithium-ion, both, just the lithium-ion. So you can see there, if I'm firing quite a few full power pops, then the lithium-ion 860 S is going to give me slightly better recycles. And although I've not tested it yet, what I'd imagine is as the batteries, the AA batteries sort of die off a little bit quicker than lithium-ion, then you're obviously going to keep the performance is going to be more consistent with the 860S Mark II. So my choice would be probably go for the 860 Mark IIs with the lithium-ion battery, simply because of that recycle time. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think the convenience of having the lithium-ion battery and the battery life of that is worth it for me and what I'm going to be doing. Because if you're firing full power shots, then every little bit of extra recycling time is going to be a benefit to you. So hopefully you found that helpful. As you can see, it's quite easy to control using this X1T-S on top of the camera. You can actually use Nikon and Canon versions of this trigger to fire these flashes because it's the same control system. So it's quite a good investment in terms of if you've got a mix of systems, then you can get non-TTL versions of this, so you can still use the firing and the communication, but not necessarily have to have the TTL. So it depends how you shoot flash. A lot of the time I'll sort of do a mix between TTL and manual power. It's relatively quick to change between the two. So I'm on TTL here, so I can just go press the mode button, and if it's at the same power, then it's it's simple as that. If I can just hit the group button and then just scroll down, hit OK, then I've set my power again. So it's not a difficult thing to do from that point of view. So I can change the settings. So quite reliable. Obviously we're showing it quite a short distance here. I'm planning on doing a more of a range test of these because I've done that with the Yongano setup. I've not really done it with the Godox so much with all this new stuff. So I'm going to try that with the Sony and the X1T-S, the 685 and the AD360 I could put in here as well. And then as one last thing, we're just going to try high-speed sync. So you can see it's just automatically let me go into high-speed sync. I get this little high-speed sync button here. I'm still getting that. I can go into TTL mode with high-speed sync as well. So there I'm at 1/800th of a second, which is clearly the sort of speed we'd expect for high-speed sync. You know, and even at 8,000 per second, I'm syncing here with the a7r2. I'm not getting any black borders here. You know, so we're seeing quite sort of a good setup. So we can sync all the way up to the highest speeds without having to worry about black banding or anything like that. So again, you know, that means we can use a whole range of shutter speeds. We don't have to worry about going over sync speed, which you sometimes have to do. You know, certainly if you're using the Yongnuo strobes, you do have to worry about high speed sync. Whereas with this setup, you don't need to worry about high speed sync. So you can shoot at whatever shutter speed you want. It's all automatic. I'm not having to do anything clever with the camera or press and hold any magic buttons. It integrates with the AD360 if you want to use that as well, if you want a bit more power. You can also integrate with the TT600 as well. That's a fully manual flash. Which uses lithium-ion setup. You can also use it with any of the other Godoxes. So the 560, I think it is, that you can get a little dongle you plug in. Make sure it's the 2.4 gigahertz one if you're using it, not the 433 megahertz one. And that's all you need to do, really. It just all magically works, and that's it. Hopefully you found that helpful. You know, there's not too much out there on setting up Sony flashes and things, but as you can see, the setup really is minimal. It's a case of you put it on a stand, you put the X1T-S on, and that's it. You know, you choose whether you're in TTL or manual mode. You can go into high-speed sync. You know, you don't have to do anything special to get this to work. So that's one of the beauties of this is, you know, in many ways it's easier to set up than the Pocket Wizard setup I was using originally with Canon and Nikon. You know, you don't have to put anything onto anything else. You know, the Godox flashes are relatively inexpensive. You know, certainly if you look at the cost of own brand flashes, be that Sony, Canon or Nikon, you know, we're talking £100 or less for the 685, and you know, just over £100 for the 860 Mark II S. So you know, that's been my recommendations. Hopefully you found it useful, and thanks for watching. If you've got any other suggestions for videos you'd like me to see made, then let me know and I'll speak to you soon. Many thanks. Bye bye.